Hey, welcome to an episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. Continue with the BJCP style guidelines. We're on style 19B, California Common. And when you think California Common, which is actually, as the name implies, a common name for a beer that pretty much invented the style, did invent the style, Anchor Steam Beer, the original California Common, started in like the gold rush in the 1800s. Although actually it says first brewed in 1896, and the gold rush in San Francisco, I think, was 1849. That's why the football team's called the San Francisco 49ers. Fun little factoid there. Anyways, let's go right into the style guidelines here. So California Common overall impression: a lightly fruity beer with firm, grainy maltiness, interesting toasty and caramel flavors, and showcasing rustic, traditional American hop characteristics. If we go down to comments history and all this stuff, I mean, they make a point of saying this style is narrowly defined around the prototypical Anchor Steam example. Although allowing other typical ingredients of the era, Northern brewer hops are not a strict requirement from the style. They should say, but, because it says modern American New World type hops, especially situated ones, are inappropriate, however. So it's kind of misleading the way that particular sentence is worked. So then, like, you read the history, and, it's just basically Anchor Steam invented the beer. But then they relaunched it in, like, 1971. So, like, this is probably not the same recipe as what they had in 1896 or whatever. So characteristic ingredients: pale ale malt, non-citrusy hops, often northern brewer, small amounts of toasted malt and or crystal malts, lager yeast. However, some strains work better with others at warmer fermentation temperatures. Some German yeast strains produce inappropriate sulfury character. It says similar to an American amber ale, but not quite the same. 30 to 45 IBU, so, that's pretty bitter, actually, for a lager-ish beer. 10 to 14 SRM, so not too dark. Let's just dive right into the aroma. Yeah, it does have kind of a little bit of a fruity taste and like a little bit of caramel, sort of, very similar to the amber ale from yesterday. Not quite as sweet. And this one's like significantly more fruity. It's like it's a little floral and like, I wouldn't say citrus, but it's just kind of a general fruit basket thing. Maybe like a little bit of berry or melon. So it's more fruity than caramel, but there is a little bit of that in there. Maybe toasted malt like way in the background. I think that fruitiness is coming as like yeast esters. Otherwise, like, pretty clean fermentation and pretty nice smelling beer. Smells more like an ale than a lager. That's the weird thing about the Steam California Common style. So let's check the specs. Aroma typically showcases rustic, traditional American hops, often with woody, rustic, you said that already, or minty qualities. Minty? Yeah, I mean, I guess you get more rustic or whatever. In moderate to high strength, light fruitiness acceptable. That's what I just said. Low to moderate caramel and or toasty malt aromatics support the hops. Yeah, I would say low, moderately low. So this particular bottle, I'm gonna say 10, maybe even 11. Let's say 10. Maybe we'll come back to that. Appearance, well, nice kind of amber, amberish copper color, pretty clear. I wouldn't call it crystal clear, but yeah, hold up to the sunlight. Very pretty copper color. How about a 2-finger head when I first poured it? Let's check our SRM card on here. Yeah, I put it 13 to 17. Probably closer to 13. Let's check the specs on here. Appearance: medium amber to light copper color. True. Generally clear. True. Moderate off-white head with good retention. True. All right, so perfect 3 out of 3 on appearance there. Now we get to the best part. Cheers. I actually haven't had this beer in years, so I had kind of forgotten what it tastes like. I mean, I've had other Steam beers, and like this is the original, so it's definitely more hoppy than I remember. And it's sort of fresh. This bottle was from August, so it's a little less than 4 months old, but plenty of hops on there. I mean, they say rustic hops, so yeah, it's like kind of like the noble hops where it's a little bit spicy, earthy, as far as like the hops or flavor are going. And it's interesting because like I didn't notice that this beer was like so hop forward. It's I mean, definitely the first thing I noticed is hops, but it's like the first thing you notice is hops in a pale ale, but it's not especially bitter. And then you get that caramel kind of toastiness, but it's kind of like an afterthought, or it's like more in the background. And it's not especially sweet. It's just like a little bit more than some kind of generic pale lager. Certainly more flavor, more character than an international amber lager. Fairly dry bitterness on this. It's not dank at all. And yeah, like even though that caramel and toast quality is there, it's not... It's sweeter than the average amber lager, but it's not a sweet beer per se. The Bell's Amber was like way sweeter than this. Let's check the specs for California Common. Flavor, moderately malty with pronounced hop bitterness. I would agree with that. The malt character is usually toasty, not roasted, and caramelly. Yeah, I'd say, let's go to the next sentence. Low to moderately high hop flavor, usually showcasing rustic, traditional American hop qualities, often woody, rustic, minty. Man, these guys write such redundant statements here. Finish fairly dry and crisp with a lingering hop bitterness and a firm, grainy malt flavor. Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so firm, grainy malt, true. They mentioned the malt character is usually toasted. Sort of. And caramelly, yes. It's more caramel than toast to me. Light fruity esters are acceptable, but otherwise clean. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, light fruity esters. Like, there's a little bit of fruitiness in here. A little bit of an apple or pear. And, melon or something. But, I mean, it's not like an IPA where all the hops are making the fruity notes. And it's certainly not like a Belgian where the yeast esters are doing all that. So, the fruit is really subtle. If you pay attention, you can pick it up. But yeah, so a little bit of caramel, a little bit of toast, and to me, it's more hoppy. It's than malty, but nothing completely out of whack on there. So flavor, I'm gonna go pretty high. I mean, it's the progenitor of the style, and it's living up to everything. I'll say 18. To me, it's not especially delicious. I'm just saying that it's living up to the style guidelines quite well. So, mouthfeel, I'd say it's like medium light bodied. It's only 4.9 ABV. Medium high carbonation, pretty crisp, very clean aftertaste. Like I said, sort of refreshing, but I mean, it's not like I was going to say Bud Light, or it's not like a Hefeweizen, like that's refreshing. But so let's check the specs on mouthfeel. Medium bodied, medium to medium high carbonation. That's all it says. All right, well, is there any reason to give it anything other than a 5 if there's such short, not short, but just very minor stipulations? Overall impression, I'm going to say 9 out of 10. That brings up to a total score of 45 out of 50. Wow, which is actually a 10 out of 10. And like I said when we on the onset, I was like, why do we even? There isn't much point even reviewing this. Let's just give it a 50 and call it a day. I don't think I would give this particular bottle a 50. I mean, it's 4 months old. I'd be really interested. I would love to try this. Like, if I ever get to San Francisco, see what this is like super fresh. But yeah, I think I'm gonna drop that. I'm gonna drop that flavor down to a 17. 44 out of 50 for Anchor Steam beer. Excellent beer, fun, easy to drink beer. My only complaint is that this should be in cans. So if anybody from Anchor Steam is watching, can this thing. All right. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Review. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.